research recently. Zillow estimates are about 10% below what we're selling for. I explained to people it's an algorithm that Zillow cannot smell the inside of the crazy cat lady house that I sold. Zillow doesn't really know one side of the street from the other. I use Zillow all the time, but we have to look at what today's values are. You know, if we're an appraiser looking at ancient history, which is a house that closed escrow 30 days ago, we're looking at a market with limited demand, high demand and low inventory. So our pricing is higher.
Okay. Okay, Jason?
Yeah, very similar to that. You're right. Computer, they don't see things like the liquor store on the corner.
Yes.
You know, knowing, you know, above the 94 freeway or above certain freeways or east and west of this area, what are the good parts, what are the bad parts? I mean, it's a local human person with eyes looking at these areas, living it on a daily basis is the big pitch about it.
So Zillow being an estimate. So Rita, you mentioned that you figured out that we were like 10% off. There's a chart, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but on Zillow we make it really, we make our accuracy or inaccuracy extremely transparent. And if you click on any page on Zillow, if you click on Zestimates, it'll take you to a data and accuracy table. You can drill down by county level, and you can understand just how far off Zillow is from the actual sales prices. So it sounds like you've dug in a little bit and you're bringing maybe that to a listing presentation, or you're educating people based on our accuracy numbers.
Yeah, I also tell people to look at to go farther down and look at the range.
Right.
And if it's a model match for a tract home that was built 10 years ago, that range is going to be a lot smaller. If it's a custom home that was built at the turn of the century, the range is going to be a lot bigger.
Okay. Okay.
It's a range.
It's a range, okay.
What else I like to tell people too is that for, you know, the consumer out there that doesn't have the tools that we as realtors have, I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, it's getting people traffic to the website that's going to meet you. And so you want to be in that realm, and, you know, at the same time, they want to have some idea. They don't want to seem like they're going into it blind. And so it's kind of a win-win, because they'll see a little bit of what's going on, and then you'll be able to kind of fine-tune a little bit more of what they're talking about.
Alejandro, do you ever tell people, like, don't use that website? They know what we're talking about.
I tell them to go to the website as much as possible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you know, they have other tools. You know, they can get those estimates, they can look at the listings, you know. So I encourage them to go on the website. And also these are impressions I have in there.
One thing I've learned, just, you know, talking to a lot of agents, is you don't really want to discredit whatever website a consumer is using. Granted, you want to get them off of that onto your own personal system, and that's great. That we empower you, and we want you to kind of own that relationship after they've met you, especially if they've met you through the website. But the fundamental thing is if you tell them don't use something, but they've spent 6 months using it, there's a level of like, well, what have I been looking at for the last 6 months? So you don't want to necessarily drag them off of it, but definitely drag them to somewhere where you feel like they would benefit, which might be your personal website. But definitely just like empower them and give them more information rather than telling them that they maybe haven't been looking at the right data.
Our buyers are incredibly educated. They spend all day long with their smartphone looking at information. They know the neighborhood they're focused on more than I do, because all they're doing is looking at that neighborhood.
Yeah, great. Tweetable moment too, if you like to tweet, but we like to say it's not a price or a appraisal. It's an estimate. It's an estimated home value. So remind folks of that as well. The other topic I'd like to bring up is this topic of response time in the industry. I mentioned this earlier, but our consumers are having different behavior and just different expectations. So I'd love to hear from the three of you just sort of what your take is, or what's your philosophy on why is it important to respond quickly to these things. Jason, maybe we'll start down with you and work your way this.
Yeah, I mean, Zillow, when you're assigned a rep and they're teaching you about it, you know, they say your best results are within the first 10 minutes. I mean, you want to do it even faster than that. I mean, 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the very most. I mean, the faster, the better is how, because what you're trying to do is even catch them on the computer looking at it right now. You know, because they, just like he was mentioning earlier, as far as you type a question into Google, you want to know right now. And so if you can catch them in front of the computer, I mean, even if you aren't in front of a computer yourself, you want to reach out. I'm in the field. Yes, I see the property. It came through on my email. Your email came through. I'm going to get back to you within an hour. Whatever you want to establish contact within the first couple minutes. And live contact is usually your best result. I don't know, after 10 minutes, after 30 minutes, my chances of being in contact with that client go less than 50%.
So Lisa, if you are responding quickly, do you use a method of like call, text, email, or do you text? Are you texting much?
Whatever I can do at the moment. If I'm in a meeting, I'm texting. If it's a call, I'll call. Now, oftentimes people are contacting you at work and you don't get them on the phone. So I'll leave a message and I'll text them because I know they'll see the text, and then I'll email them. It's within minutes. We try to get right back to them as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Those are valuable leads.
I've heard in the last 6 months, I've heard that text notifications, like texting a consumer, is becoming one of the most important things you can do to convert them long term. Just venture to ask, but like, do you guys have a lot of unread email in your inboxes? Emails? Do you have like hundreds or thousands of emails you haven't read? How many text messages have you not read on your phone? Very few go unread, right? So if you text a consumer back and say, you can even say something like that's honest, like I'm at dinner with my wife at whatever restaurant, can I call you back in 30 minutes? And asking that question warrants a response, and oftentimes you can have a full conversation by text. Something that a lot of agents have told me that they're utilizing. Alejandro, what about you?
Her texting has like a 96% open rate. So within 1 minute, I believe the conversion rate is 391%. What was it? 5 minutes, it drops down to 160, and 3 minutes, it's 62%. So once that lead comes in, text and phone call right away, immediately. Because when they're looking at that page and then they go to the next home, there's another 3 agents that they're gonna call them. So I don't know how many times I call them and they go, and I call them, sorry I'm a little late calling you within a minute. And they're like, a little late? Wow, I'm still looking at your picture right now.
Yeah.
I get that all the time. And once I hear that, I know I got the lead.
Some of these CRMs that I mentioned earlier have this, like a video autoresponder. One of them, I think it's called BombBomb, but I had one agent tell me recently that she incorporates a video, so when the lead comes in, the consumer on the other end is watching a quick 30-second video of her, and by that time, the inside salesperson or herself or whoever's calling back is already, like in the middle of the video, the consumer's phone's ringing, and the consumer's like, wow, I hit a button off of this national website, and all of a sudden, like I'm getting the local person, and that is so gratifying.
Getting a human.
And texting is great too for the after hours part of it. I mean, I get leads 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night sometime. I'm still up just working on my computer or whatever it may be, and so I don't want to do a call because my mom taught me never to call after 9 o'clock, and so I'll shoot a text, hey, I just happen to be up late working, I see your email came through, I'm in front of my computer, if you have the question, I have the answers. So
That's a good question. Sometimes these leads come in at like 3 o'clock in the morning. How do you handle that?
I call them the next day.
I'm up at 5, and when I respond by computer, I don't pick up the phone till 8.
Okay. How about long term? So a question that comes up often is, well, I've called them 3 times or I called them 4 times and I'm getting nothing. Like they reached out to me. Should I let them go? Should I put them into a system? Alejandro, what do you do?
The goal is to call them, in 10 business days, twice a day. And within those 10 business days, which is 2 weeks, also text and email them 3 or 4 times. And all my leads from Zillow go to my CRM. And I'm also integrated with BombBomb, so you get a video email on days 1, 4.
You're using video.
I'm using the video too. And then also my CRM sends a drip campaign.
Okay.
And then I also have an ISA that calls them too.
Okay.
So I'm hitting them from all that areas.
Okay. Have you had anyone that's resurrected like 8 months later?
All the time, yeah.
What happens?
Yeah. I'm still getting emails, and they call me out of the blue. They're not approved at that moment, but they're approved 8 months later, and they get my emails and they come back and say, hey, I just had one this week, came back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would any of you like to venture to just tell the audience exactly what you say if you can get someone on the phone? I'd love to hear, and I think maybe it would be valuable if you could say like, okay, you got that complete stranger, consumer, you've got them live on the phone. We say, can I ask you to do this?
That's Rita, that's okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Close enough, that's right, you've got the I and the A.
Sorry.
You start a conversation communicating with someone. So every conversation is going to be different. You know, hi, this is Rita Shop. I'm calling you back. I just got your contact information from Zillow. I see you're interested in looking at a house on such and such a street. Then I start talking about them. You know, are you relocating to the area? Do you live in the area already? Do you have a house to sell? Are you working with an agent? I mean, they just start asking questions, and then I start listening, and then I set an appointment.
Okay.
That's my goal.
Jason, is your end goal to set an appointment as well?
Yeah. I've learned with a lot of these leads, less is more. You know, they're really specific on a particular property. I really don't go into any questions about a lender. I don't go into any questions about what type of financing, what type of down payment, you know, any of that type of stuff, you know. Even if the house that they're particularly looking at is already pending, because I mean, that's what happens a lot, unfortunately. If the house is vacant, I'll still try to set the appointment to show them the house as a potential backup offer, because the whole goal to me, and I learned from another Zillow event in San Diego, that 3 out of 4 buyers will work with the very first realtor that they meet. And so the whole goal is to get in front of them with that face-to-face contact. And so I try and, you know, less is more. I definitely try to have a good conversation. If they start getting real specific about questions, then I get a little more specific. But just get that appointment, get in front of them, and then I'll show them one house for free, and then the second house we'll start talking about a lender a little bit more.
What about this concept of having them sign a buyer's agreement? Alejandro, do you?
Absolutely.
You do?
Every appointment now. Before early in my career, no, I didn't. And what happened is, you know, I lose them. You know, I'm applying with somebody else.
Okay.
You know, now every appointment I stress this. I have one buyer's agent right now, and I stress this. Every appointment you go on, have a buyer broker. You wouldn't take a listing without a listing agreement. Why have show buyer without a buyer broker agreement? Same thing.
Cool. You don't do it? Okay.
I'm not a, you know, I have not used the buyer broker agreement in the past. I mean, if there is a particular client that I think is using a lot of my time, you know, over a 3, 6, 8 month period, something like that, then I might consider it on that level. But I think you really kind of get the feeling that people, if you click with people almost right away. I feel like on the first meeting, whether or not I got this client hooked or I don't. And so, you know, and there's always the risk of, you know, they, you know, fall in love with another realtor or whatever the case may be. But it just hasn't been a part of my business model yet. But I feel confident that people who are working with me are working with me.
Okay. Awesome. Let's move on to a different topic. Let's move on to the topic of reviews. I'd love to see a show of hands of folks that have 5 reviews on any website profile. Okay, 5, great. How about we run through the list here and just how many reviews do you have on your
I believe I have like 29, 30.
29 or 30, Rita?
I think I have 54.
13.
Okay. So each of you are somewhat, you know, incorporating reviews into your process. Let's talk about the how and the why. We'll start with you, Alejandro. Just talk about, like, you know, how you go about it, and then maybe like why it's important.
Okay, well, on each closing I ask for a review. How's your, you know, how's your experience? You know, and you know, can I ask for them to, you know, go ahead and, you know, if you could do me a favor, this how, you know, I help more people. Like I help you, you know, if you could review me on Zillow. And you know, and a lot of times you get them to say yes and they'll put the review. Now, sometimes, you know, sometimes they don't put it on because they get busy. But I offer a incentive. How about a $25 gift card to Starbucks?
You offer incentives?
Okay, yeah. And once I start doing that, I noticed I start getting more reviews.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rita, have you seen like any significant increase in the number of leads or contacts you get as you generated more and more reviews?
Yeah, people, I mean, it's almost creepy. People will call and say, I read every one of your reviews.
Yeah.
You know, we're meeting people in the cyber world. They don't know who we are. The reviews humanize me, and they understand who I am as a person.
Yeah, do you ever wonder what they're doing right before they look at real estate? They're probably looking at Amazon, and they're probably searching for something, like who knows, whatever that might be. And if you do buy something on Amazon, you get that immediate gratification of like, you got that notification that it's on its way, but before that you read probably everything you could about it, or TripAdvisor if you're going to go to a hotel. So you would think that if people were making the most important decision of their life, that they probably are going to understand and study someone before reaching out for help. And Jason, are you seeing that true as well?
Well, right. The idea of how people used to select realtors in the past, you know, you interview a couple, maybe talk to a friend or family member who knows a realtor. I mean, that's just going away. We're going into this more. Right, Amazon, Yelp, you know, reviews are it, and so it's an interesting, you know, market that the new generation is bringing to the space.
Go for it.
Yeah, I can't tell you now. I go on listing appointments and they have me all research before I even show up to a listing.